And when I started work in Selleo, it was about 4 years ago, I quickly became a lead developer on several projects. And I was starting looking at things differently. I had a team, and I started thinking, is there some fields of improvements that can be made within this team? So apparently, after a few months of observation, I got this conclusion that there is a lot of room for improvement, and we have to finally think about it, what we can improve. So the one area of this potential improvement was the motivation of co-workers. And I mean that there were some small issues that affected some people. And for example, this is different expectations. I mean that when we are starting a project, then people can have different goals, different expectations. For the one person, he would like to participate in creating a great project that would be used by thousands of users daily. And for the other person, he is not interested in that. He's just looking for the technical challenges, for some technical experiments. The other issue was lack of appreciation. And yeah, it still happens that there are clients that cannot simply say good job or well done. And these words are very needed for the developers, especially after long hours spent on providing some features. And yeah, they were missing. Another motivation issue was boredom. When we had a developer who worked for a certain project for a very long time, because he's involved in that as a support, he feels tired in this project. He cannot, let's say, investigate new technologies. He couldn't switch the project and start something new. So these were motivation issues that I observed, but there were also some communication, or I could say also planning issues. And one of them was that our developers from time to time were creating very big tasks, and these tasks were highly untrackable. I mean, behind such a task we have a totally unknown complexity, and the time that is needed for delivering is totally unknown. So there were cases when the developer took such a task and started working on it, and we are using Kanban. So he put the task into the in progress column in Kanban, and this task could stay there for the next few days. And for me as a team leader, for the client, as he also has access to the tracking system, and nobody could tell what is the exact progress on the project, what is the exact progress about this feature. And another planning issue that was connected with communication was that not all tasks were updated in the tracking system. I mean, when the day was starting, developers were taking tasks and they were planning, they were making plans for themselves, that I will do this, this, and that issue today, and they put it into the notebook on the piece of paper, and they started working, and they didn't care about the tracking system. So finally, at any point of day, we had no access to the current progress of development, but at the end of the day, we had everything done. So there was immediate transition from backlog to done, with totally missing part of in progress. That was the magic. So we had these issues, these issues within these areas that might be improved. So I started thinking, what what can I do about it? How can I improve it? So, there are some facts. Fact number one is that I'm a web developer, so I'm trained to deliver web applications. So that's the one. The second one was at this time I recently completed the master's degree of video games production at the university. Other thing was that I was using a lot of game-like fitness applications, like Zombies Run, like Nike Plus, that helped me to stay in shape, in good condition, and I really like the games. And finally, I've watched several talks from a great game designer, Jesse Shell, about using game elements and game mechanics in a non-gaming context. So these were the facts that I used to prepare some plan. So I decided that I will move on to some kind of experiment to try to improve something, to learn the people the better habits. So I've decided to move on to the gamification, which is still very trendy topic. But however, there is not many implementations of gamification in the real IT teams. So that was the experiment. So the plan was that we have this group of developers in our company which daily work with UTrack. This is an issue tracking system similar to Jira and others. And they are submitting tasks, they're working on tasks, they resolve them. And that was the process that was at this moment in the company. So I decided to create an application which would be syncing data with UTrack, and I called it UGame. And each time the user closes the task, he will be able to receive some points. And in this way, he will be encouraged to update tasks and to work more efficiently. And with a little help of fun, this will be in use. So the first level, the level number one, I had these mission objectives. The first one, to teach my colleagues that we should split big tasks into the smaller ones, just to keep the complexity as lower as we can, and to make these tasks trackable. Because when I split a big feature, I can easily indicate what's the progress on implementing them. Of course, when I am updating tasks all the time. Another objective was that we should keep our tasks updated, just to let others know what is the progress on the implementation, just to express that we are working and this feature is not just hanging in the progress for no reason. And finally, the players of such a game should feel rewarded by collecting points for completing tasks. So that was the entry level, that was the objectives for the first step of implementation of UGame. So I made a bit of coding, and I finally got the first version of the application where users or players were able to check what the others are doing at the moment, what tasks were in their backlogs, what tasks have been recently completed by them, and of course to see how many points are assigned to the certain task. There was also an activity page where it was just a timeline of the things that have recently done in the company. And there was a global ranking where everybody can compare themselves to the others and tell who is the best by scoring points. And there were filters for scoping by today, week, or month. Yeah, so that was the first level implementation. And I started thinking, is that final? was it this what I was looking for? And during that time, I took a gamification course on Coursera by Professor Kevin Werbach. That was a brilliant course. It will be also another edition in the late in this year. And it gave me a lot of information about the gamification. I've also took feedback from my colleagues from Selleo, and the feedback was basically, wow, that's the nice usage of UTrack API. But there is no feedback like, whoa, let's try it, it looks awesome. So yeah, that was sad. And that was the third part. I started thinking in a critical way about my application, and I observed that apparently I've created more problems than I solved. So, the new problems. I didn't make a gamification, I just made a pointification. So, I started granting the points which were meaningless. People were solving tasks, but okay, I received points, and what? What can I do with it? There is a global leaderboard, which is another topic, but there was no meaning for these points. Another issue, yeah, who cares? Another issue is that if we have this global ranking, there is a risk that there will be some bright manager that will use this global ranking for evaluating people, which is very bad. Gamification should produce fun, should produce good habits, but should not be used for evaluating people and ruining their lives. So you are on the bottom of the leaderboard, so you are the first person to be fired, right? So I didn't want to produce such a tool. The next thing, competition versus collaboration. It's supposed that when we have a team, they should have a common goal and should collaborate to achieve this goal. And by only using this global ranking, I'm doing the opposite. I'm introducing competition, which is meaningless. Yeah, it is global ranking. And the last thing that I've observed, that the fun is missing because we are just collecting points and okay, so what? And yeah, we're collecting points, but there is no progression. So I just can't say what these points express. I get no progress in the game. So that were things that I had to change. So I started thinking on the second level of implementation, the new game, and I thought about maybe I will use some plot that will be simple, but it will add this meaning for scoring points and then for collecting minerals, because I will tell about it more later. So this plot, this theme, based on some fighting galaxies. Since it's gamification, it's game in some way, and each game should have some rules. It's the thing that is separating the game from the play. Play does not have rules. So we should introduce some rules to this gamification. And the last thing, get rid of this global ranking. And yeah, ranking is cool because we like rankings, but let's use the personalized one, just to show a bit of information that certain player needs. So, mission objectives. Let's serve the same goal across the company, and which progress can be easily measured. Okay, that will be part of the plot. Then let the players build their profiles, which would express the overall effort in the company, that will store the information about the progression. So these points would be meaningful, or at least more meaningful. And finally, let's introduce the personalized ranking, and let's do it in that way that if you want to see who is the top, you have to advance in the ranking. So you're basically seeing only the one person above you and the one person below you. If you want to see who is the bottom, then just do nothing and wait. You will be there. Yeah. So that was mission objectives, level 2. I made some implementation, and yeah. Could we have lights a little bit darker, please? Right? Question? Okay. Right. Right. And that was the level 2. Totally changed from the graphic side. That was the one thing. And we have this mission screen where we have progress on the mission. The mission was like this one, that our company is the company that is an organization that tries to save the mankind because the Earth is overpopulated, and each month engineers, the developers of this company, has to land on a certain planet to fight against the hostile race, just to conquer this planet and make a colony there. So we had a limited time. This is a screenshot from yesterday. It's end of the month. My colleagues were great in this month, so they completed this mission. But there's a number of required minerals. In case of this month, this was palladium. And everybody had this common goal. I've also used the previously introduced features such as timeline in the log entries. I've made this ranking personalized, so there are these 3 dots. If you want to see who is on the top, you have to advance in the ranking. There is no other possibility to see who is on what position. And finally, I added the player's profile, where everybody has an access to this profile. And there is a list of tasks that are in the backlog, the list of tasks that are in progress, and the list of the tasks that are completed recently. And there are also achievements, because we do not only promote completing tasks, but for example, in case of our company, we have monthly meetings where we try to share knowledge between each other. We are making presentations. And each time somebody is making the presentation, he is able to score a badge. That's cool. And we have this experience indicator, which is taken from the score points, and the level. And currently, at this point, I were the nuclear reactor engineer. So I had this implemented, and I started asking questions. Is this final? Is this the application I wanted? Well, apparently there are some other issues in this company that I can fix. For example, some time ago we had monthly updates, the emails that share the knowledge on what's going on in the company across the teams, because we have now 3 or 4 teams. So there were situations where some developer was not aware that we've started some project a month ago in a different team, and everybody likes to know everything. So creating such an update was very difficult and time-consuming for managers. So they did it twice and then just resigned it. So maybe I could do something about it. And the second thing was that, okay, we are granting points for completing tasks, but there are a lot of other good practices that should be rewarded. For example, code reviews, for example, automated test maintenance, and the sharing knowledge, which was partially done by assigning these badges from the internal meetings. So these were two targets that I would like to tackle again. So mission objectives again. Let the people prepare the weekly reports from the organization units based on the projects, and add then API to UGame just to let the other applications integrate with the system. And what has been done? It was just added recently, I think 3 weeks ago. And basically I spread the responsibility of creating an update, monthly update, to the all lead developers in the company. Each lead developer could add a report from the last week in UGame, and then on Monday, on 9 o'clock, everybody received an email with the information about my current ranking position, who was the best in collecting minerals last week, what's the progress on the mission, and then finally the organization reports. And for example, there is a Chief of Global Jury Unit reports, and there is this text which gives us the information about what's happening in the company. And the second thing was the UTrack API. We are already using it with another application we have for performing code reviews, and it's working quite well. We're just granting the points for well-done commits. We are granting also the points for the reviewers, because it's a good habit to review the code. And finally, I once again asked this question to myself: is that final? Well, no. There's a lot of features to be implemented. As you think about games, there's a lot of ideas that can be introduced in such application. So finally, how I became a Spaceship Commander in case of Selleo. Basically, I've collected 10,000 of experience points in new game. And second thing is that I had a lot of fun while experimenting with gamification, and that's the thing that I encourage you to do. So, thank you so much. Last thing, because I almost forgot it. Right. As soon as you finish something, just update the state. It should be in progress, but I forgot it to indicate that. But it's done. Okay. So thank you. I think that we are out of time, and I will be able to answer your questions just outside. I will be there somewhere. Okay, thank you.